Oh, Eric, it's fall. We're going to go skydiving. We're going to see all the foliage. This is awesome. But I don't need the Quest 3 for this, Eric, do I?
Yeah, just go ahead and strap it on your face.
Okay. This is my first time skydiving. Now I'm a little nervous. What's going on, Eric?
Don't worry. The Meta Quest 3 has a pass-through mode, so you'll be able to see right in front of you.
Oh, that makes me feel a lot better.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Whoa! This is how you launch a product.
Yeah! This is exactly how you launch a product.
Welcome to the Volumetric Roundtable, where we talk about all the latest things happening in the world of volumetric. My name is Eric Azares, head of product development at Dengenuity Labs, and I'm here today with Denny Breitenfeld, founder of Dengenuity Labs. Hi, Denny.
Hey, Eric. Good to be here.
And today we're going to talk about mixed reality.
Volumetric and mixed reality sort of go hand in hand because we are capturing things in 3D. And the best way to experience 3D as of now is with some kind of headset, whether it's pass-through with XR or AR or VR. Being able to walk around that capture is the perfect sort of pairing with the device and content. And lo and behold, Meta just released the Quest 3. And I know you've had a chance to really explore it, test out volumetric content on it, and enjoy it. What are your initial reactions and what are the specs like that our audiences may be interested in hearing, Eric?
Yeah, I've been playing around with the Quest 3 for the past week, and I love it. And I've been using virtual reality headsets since 2016, everything from the Oculus to the Vive, PlayStation VR as well. The Quest 2 now, yeah, I'm loving the Quest 3 because it's more than just virtual reality. It's a hybrid. It's a mixed reality headset. So believe it or not, it's actually lighter than the Quest 2 and it's more comfortable. And what I love about the Quest 3 is that it has 3 cameras in the front. So you may have seen pictures of it. It looks like 3 hill-shaped cameras, and that enables the pass-through. And unlike the previous generation, it's actually full color, higher resolution, and it's got a lot of neat features that really take advantage of mixed reality capabilities. So for example, in the past, you've had to manually draw your play area boundaries, like make a little square around your living room or your workstation so you don't bump into a coffee table. But Quest 3 takes care of that automatically, right? It's able to see all the stuff in your room, your walls, your maybe you have a laundry basket in the corner, and to make sure that you don't bump into anything. So I just love that it does that automatically. And right out the box, when you put it on your head, it does hand tracking. Like it will automatically see and recognize your hands. So there's no extra sensors you have to wear or calibration. It just does it. So I'm not even talking about using games yet. So just powering it up was super exciting, like going through the tutorial. Yeah, so all this Meta Quest 3 talk, right, and using like mixed reality, right? Imagine seeing like playing Ghostbusters in your living room or playing old childhood games. Like, ever play The Floor is Lava? Where you have to avoid stepping on the floor and you have to jump on couches. I mean, imagine playing that with a mixed reality headset, right? Where you overlay lava, like an actual fire on your carpet, right? And you have to kind of jump around and avoid it. Was really interesting. Have you ever done that before, Denny?
Yes. Yeah, I haven't done it in maybe 40 years.
A couple weeks.
But
I mean,
weeks. Yeah, I just did it yesterday, Eric.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is that a couple of years ago, there was a viral video that came out called The Floor is Lava, and the actors in it were from the Corridor Digital crew, and it was produced by a good friend of ours who we're going to spotlight today in our VFA corner.
Fearless Productions, headed by Snehal Patel. He's been a pioneer in pushing technology and media more than 10 years now. Really likes the fact that technology is there to enhance a story, to tell a story. It's not the other way around. And his latest project over at Fearless Production is using all these new technologies to tell a really amazing story. And what he's latched on to is a cyberpunk type music video with a little bit of a Bollywood sound to it. So it's like a combination of two genres coming together. And then the music video really sort of tells this cyberpunk story, and it uses virtual production with a robotic camera. It uses volumetric capture to put the dancer up on the big screen of the big LED wall and make it seem seamless. So what he's done is he's sort of gone through and documented sort of what this workflow is, because there's no textbook. This hasn't been done before. So somebody needs to be a pioneer in it. And I think this is going to be a world's first that really combines things like volumetric capture, virtual production, robotic cameras, AI-based images, then how to blend that in. So he's really made sure that technology is there as a tool for the artist and creative person, and then figured out the workflow. And the project is called
Project Chimera?
Project Chimera. If you want to learn more about it, to Instagram and follow Fearless Productions. He's documented it all over the last 3 months, and more will be revealed. But it's definitely worth sort of taking a look and reaching out to Fearless Productions to learn more, because, like I said, it's pushing the boundaries of the tech, but keeping it creator centric, and then saying, hey, here's a workflow that works. Here's a workflow that maybe you shouldn't go down because it's just going to create too many headaches. And it couldn't be done by a more talented person that I've ever met in my life, and that's Snehal Patel.
He really is just pushing the boundaries and making a whole hybrid of different technologies, having it come together and to tell a fun story, a really compelling story. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the final result.
You know, from a volumetric industry point of view, now that there's the momentum is there, obviously games are going to be at the forefront, but you know, we love reality. We like seeing real movies. We like seeing concerts, and we love sports. That's all real content. How does this sort of play with what the volumetric industry is doing? And now that there's advancements in the headset side, do you see that this is going to collide rather soon? And now we're going to not just get CG content, which is wonderful, but we're going to get a lot more real content.
This headset, in my opinion, was made for volumetric. When you put it on, you can either be taken to a virtual world. Maybe you're at a haunted house, like the experience that our friends at Arcturus helped contribute to with The Seventh Guest, or keep you in your living room and have the story unfold in front of you in your own environment. So, and what I love about it is realism and immersion. Yes, there's CG content, and there's lots of fun games out there where you're playing like this zombie home invasion game where the monsters are coming out of the windows in your actual living room, and just makes for a more visceral, genuine reaction, right? It's more fun because it's actually in your room. But it kind of falls short in a way because it's still CG zombies, right? But if you have actual actors, real actors coming at you, right, that just adds a whole new layer of immersion and storytelling. I mean, this is what they were talking about. If you've ever seen Star Trek with the holodeck, where you're in this virtual world, you're standing in it. You're not just watching it on a screen. You're actually standing inside this actual environment. So it just takes that immersion and storytelling to a whole new level. And I think volumetric just goes hand in hand with this type of technology. It's just mind blowing, the stuff that I've seen so far, and it's only going to get better.
Eric, I think you hit the nail on the head. We as human beings are naturally drawn to have another connection with another human being. And if anything sort of looks a little bit off, as they say, the uncanny valley, the illusion is broken. And with volumetric capture getting better and better, we now can create those personal connections in a headset, whether that's connecting with a story, feeling like you're part of a concert or game. You're spot on. I guess the question I have for you, Eric, is where do we see this going between now and when the Apple Pro Vision headset is released, both on how the adoption may play out from a consumer point of view, from a content creator's point of view, from an industry that's developing pipelines for volumetric, and then where do you see it going beyond that with the success of the Quest 3 so far?
I think from here, we're going to see more content that is created specifically for virtual reality and volumetric experiences. Now, so far, we've seen a lot of demonstrations, a lot of cool demonstrations from Apple and from Meta, where you have multiple screens, like 2D screens, and people are watching different games and they're watching movies, but they're still inside of a rectangular box, right? Which is something that we already do with our computer monitors. Now that we've unlocked the power of volumetric and virtual reality, we're going to be able to create content specifically tailored for that immersive experience. Just like you said, we want to see the real people. I can tell if it's the CG Keanu Reeves or if it's the real Keanu Reeves jumping through a window and doing all sorts of martial arts moves like it's John Wick, or if I'm watching a live concert. And they've been experimenting with live concerts in the metaverse and virtual reality, but I want to be able to see the real Taylor Swift. And we're going to see more of that stuff happening in the next couple of months. I'm calling it right now. As you mentioned, we want to make that connection with actual real humans. We're fans of these players, these performers, these actors, these actresses. We're going to see a lot more content specifically made for virtual reality, and volumetric is the way to do that.
With the success and well-deserved success of what Taylor Swift has done by bringing concerts back post-COVID, and then being one of several folks that are sort of reviving the movie theater industry, the next sort of phase of that is the Eras tour in virtual reality. I think it's going to be a huge hit, and people love connecting with their favorite musician and favorite artist, and having it being the real Taylor Swift will make all the difference.
I foresee a lot more headsets going on people's Christmas wish lists this holiday. Already, I've been seeing posts online of people wearing MetaQuest headsets around town, right? Around the city, at conventions, and just experimenting and having fun. The more that you put these tools in the hands of consumers, or on the heads of consumers, the more we're going to get that feedback loop of what people want. I saw this one post online where someone wants to incorporate the MetaQuest into their cosplay. So it's like an Iron Man type of experience, right? Imagine having like the UI of Iron Man kind of floating in front of your face and make that part of your costume.
You touched on something that's really, really important. And you said that people are starting to have fun with it. And when you said that, it reminded me of a very well-known film where there's a moon and it has a human face on it, and then a rocket lands in the eye of the moon. The English pronunciation of that sort of film is A Trip to the Moon, and the director and the artist behind it would do these fun things with film to sort of figure out what works and what doesn't. And it was fun. The content was fun. It pushed the limits of film. And I think if we remind ourselves that that's what a medium can do, it could be fun. It could be there to create excitement. And with people wearing it to Comic-Con, that's sort of us going back to 1902 when The Trip to the Moon was released, but now we're doing it with modern technology and we're having fun with it. And the more we do, like you said, that feedback loop starts to get there, and we see a lot more of this. And next thing you know, it's pervasive. And this is sort of how we enjoy content in the future. But we need to make sure we don't lose sight that it should be fun.
I think the Smashing Pumpkins, they had a tribute to it.
That's right.
The Tonight Smashing Pumpkins video.
That's right. That's a great song too. I love that song.
Nice little trivia back to the 90s there. Speaking of the 90s and trivia,
Eric, I have a trivia question. It's all about sort of pushing the ecosystem, developing standards, interoperability, and that's what the VFA is all about. To frame this trivia question, I want to just remind you and our listeners that sort of the nomenclature, the Web 1.0 was all about the HTTP protocol and the markup language called HTML, Hypertext Markup Language. And then that allowed for anybody sort of to create a web form or a web page, and it would be able to render the same whether you're using like a Mac I should say back then an Apple device or a PC or even Linux. It really ushered in this notion of the internet. The .com age was Internet 1.0, and then Web 2.0 was sort of the application of dynamic HTML, more activity with a language called JavaScript, and the content and the connecting back to a server without refreshing the page, something called Ajax, and ushered in sort of applications, rich applications on the internet. Yeah. And so Web 3.0 is sort of saying, okay, let's bring, one part of Web 3.0 is let's bring this 3D capabilities, let's standardize it, and then have sort of this new era of the web. And there's a lot of efforts being done by the various standards bodies to make that happen. Today's trivia question is, before Web 3.0, there was actually an effort to develop a language for VR that worked on the web. What was the name of the language? When was this? And what was the company that was spearheading this effort?
All right. So this was in the 90s, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
90s. I'm trying to think of some companies from the 90s. Does this company still exist?
Sadly, they do not.
Was it CompuServe?
It was not CompuServe.
Netscape.
It was not Netscape. Thinking's good. This is a company that sort of, I wouldn't say they coined the phrase surfing the web, but they definitely leaned into it.
Was it iOmega?
It was not iOmega.
Okay. I was thinking 90s. Yep. I had zip disks,
yep.
right? I had to have my 56 megabyte zip disk for those massive files back then.
Yep.
Okay. So I think I have part of it. VRML.
Yes, VRML, VR markup language.
Okay, yes. So, this is jogging my memory because when I made one of my first web pages, it must have been GeoCities or one of AOL's services. I remember copying and pasting and embedding like a homepage, and I had like a little 3D thing saying, "Hey, welcome to Eric's domain." Press enter to continue, and then click here to sign my guest book, and you are the 32nd person to visit. I had like a little web page counter, but I do remember embedding a little VRML thing.
Oh, that's cool.
I vaguely remember it now. It had a black background and had like 3D graphics, and I thought it was the most advanced thing ever. And I was like, hey, look, you can move around with your mouse and look behind the letters. It's 3D. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. The year I'm going to give you is a big year for the 3D animation industry. It was a year when the very first 3D animation feature was released.
I'm thinking it was around the time of Toy Story.
The company that was helping with the 3D animation industry has the name graphics in it. So that's two hints, roughly what year it was. And then the company that was it, they had a foot both in the internet and in 3D graphics.
1995. Okay. It has the word graphics in it. So, okay. I'm guessing it's not TurboGrafx 16 with Bonk's Adventure.
No, that would have been amazing if it was. So do you want to know?
What is the answer? I am just banging my head on the wall, on my virtual wall here.
One of the big pushes by one of the companies that was pushing VRML was a company called Silicon Graphics.
Oh, Silicon Graphics.
They were really very supportive of the internet. They did have their sort of, when they talked about the internet, they did have a surfer surfing a wave.
Okay.
They were pushing for this idea of VR on the internet, and there's a wonderful book out there that it goes into everything about the Web 1.0 because it was so new, but also has examples of how to do your own VRML application, whether it's words or a game, how to render a sphere to walking into something like on the moon or in space. There's a whole chapter that I like that goes into a whole section called The Dark Side of the Moon and Textures 2.0 node. And you basically, create an experience as though you're in space. And in the book, it just brings you right back to 1995 with, 640 by 480 resolution of your monitor. And then, and you get to see the old browsers, out there, that were just getting started and being at the forefront. It's a really good book. Obviously it's out of print because it's from 1995. But definitely something that is for those who like to have a good library of books. This one should be right on your bookshelf. It just, when you read it, you see all the effort that's going on with standards today. Could be, and lessons learned could be learn from this book. It's a great book on VRML. Only 38 years, right?
No, I don't think that's right.
28 years.
There you go.
28 years ahead of its time. Unfortunately, Silicon Graphics did not survive. And VR, that I think the computers out there just were not really ready for the VR era. And they just weren't powerful enough. And a lot of people didn't even have graphics cards. Another trivia fact is that NVIDIA did not release their first graphics card that we know until 1995.
You know what else came out in 1995? Windows 95.
Windows 95. Yeah. Yes. Well, what really is interesting is we know about the mixed reality folks over at Microsoft that really pushed volumetric forward. With their amazing stages that now Arcturus is sort of helping keep going, and they're doing a lot there. Actually, in 1995, the Mixed Reality Lab was working on adding technology to Windows 95 so that it could take advantage of software-based 3D rendering. So if you build software and you build it in Windows 95, that team was working on making sure it performed. And, they worked with OpenGL. I think this was just after DirectX was released. Don't quote me on that one. I think DirectX was 1993 as well. So OpenGL was out, but I think that according to the book, Microsoft's Mixed Reality Lab was helping to ensure that performance on Windows 95, if you wrote something in 3D, would perform. So you can think about the history of where Microsoft's Reality Lab and Mixed Reality and how they've come all the way into volumetric. It's not obviously the same organization, but the effort has been there for 28 years.
It's really amazing to know that they were working on this. This is kind of like the precursor to what we see today. This episode of Volumetric Roundtable is produced by Dengenuity Labs, brought to you by the Volumetric Format Association. The VFA is a global professional community, and we work together to drive our technology forward through best practices, standards, and collaboration. If you'd like to join the VFA, go to volumetricformat.org/join to learn more about our membership options. We even have a community membership option, and it's free to join. My name is Eric Azares. This has been the Volumetric Roundtable. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next Mixed Reality.